Hi everybody, I'm such a clown. I have my Hellfire Club shirt on today. So I'm doing a reading. I'm doing a Celtic Cross reading. So I already pulled the cards and these are the Stranger Things cards. This is about the crazy upside down world we live in right now. So this is the perfect deck for that. And I decided to do a deeper dive reading on the energy of MAGA and the Republican administration, and some of the repression and, stuff that was going on. So I wanted to do a full spread. So I asked the question, I shuffled. I laid out the cards before I turned the camera on because I had to type out some notes because I'm still like learning this deck, especially because, like, for example, in this deck, strands is wands, is fire, scoops is earth, which is pentacles, dice is air, which is swords, spokes is water, which is cups, and I am reading these upside down. With my other deck, I am not. But I have to read the upside down world when the cards come out upside down. And I found this shirt and I thought, I gotta get it. See, you have to do the things that make you laugh. In this crazy, fucked up world, we have to find things that make us laugh and bring us joy. And I'm a big Stranger Things fan. So when I was gifted this deck, I thought, yeah, I'm gonna read about world stuff with this deck. The other stuff I like to read about is more spiritual, more about manifestation, more about, attracting what we want, about frequency. But this is about reading about what's going on in the outside environment, in our world, in our upside down world. So I asked I said, show, the energy of MAGA and the Republican administration party, more than, the people, like the moderate Republicans. There's moderate Republicans. I want to know about the MAGA and this administration, right? And what is going on? What is their energy right now, right? And you're hearing a lot of stories about, people in that party. There's a lot of repression, sexual repression is happening. So I kind of just wanted to get a feel. So I felt like I needed to do a whole Celtic Cross. So that's what I did. And I have some notes here. That's gonna help me. So the center card, I'm gonna hold them up for you, that came out is, and it came out in the reverse, is the High Priestess, okay? And that's Elle, for those of you who watch Stranger Things, you'll know who she is, right? So it came out reverse. So that right away tells me about hidden motives, suppressed intuition, secrecy, right? Selective information, and distrust. There's a lot of distrust of the inner guidance that's going on. Now it's crossed by the 3 of scoops, which is pentacles, okay? It's crossed upside down, reversed, right? Reversed, yes. So we have the center of the reading, the High Priestess. We have the 3 of Pentacles reversed as the cross. Below in the root, below us is the 10 of Pentacles, right? That's the root of the reading, the 10 of Pentacles. I'll hold them up, each one, as I'm reading them. Okay, and then we have the above, we have reverse the 9 of dice, right? Is that 9? Wait, what's wrong with me? Right? Yeah, 9 of dice, which is swords, sorry. Because it's also, I'm such a clown. Okay, the 9 of dice, this is reversed, okay? Right? Then we have the 7 of spokes, and spokes is water, cups, and then of course we have the moon in the reverse over here. So, all right. So we have the 3 of cups reversed in the power position. We have the Two of Strands, which are wands. The environment position, upside down. These are upside down. Then we have the Eight of Spokes, which is water, cups again, upside down in the hopes and fears, and the Knight of Strands in the outcome position, okay? So as I read, I'll hold up each one. Like I said, I had to take notes for this because I don't usually do Celtic Cross spreads, and this is the first time I'm ever doing one with this deck. So sorry if I'm a little choppy, but you'll get the gist of it because I have lots of information. So we have the central tone, which is hidden motives, suppressed intuition, secrecy, right? The narrative is competing with the truth. Instincts are being ignored, right? We know that. There's a lot of secrecy behind the scenes maneuvering, right? L represented things that she was doing that nobody could see that she was doing, right? This behind the scenes maneuvering. And then there's this confusion around what is real and what is being presented to us, okay? So it's being crossed by this Three of Pentacles, Three of Scoops, Three of Pentacles. And, you know, threes are about collaboration and teamwork. So here we have, okay, there's attempts to coordinate the messaging that we're getting. We already know this, right? The attempts to coordinate the messaging. There's a coalition building under the strain of the pressure from the people. They're trying to build this kind of coalition. And you know, there's a need for competent teamwork while the secrecy and this confusion is interfering with the truth. But as we know, as we could see, there is no competency in the administration, right? And then institutions are trying to function amid all of this, everything that's breaking down. That's what's happening. It's all breaking down, and the institutions are crumbling, and we're watching them crumble in real time. So, okay, that's the crossing energy, okay? Right? Yep, yeah, there's misalignment, yeah. Okay, I'm looking at my notes, sorry. Okay, so then, now, the bottom of the deck, the root, the cause, you know, the foundation, okay? We have the 10 of Pentacles. Pentacles are also about money, remember that. So there's a lot of pentacles, you know, because it's all about money here, you know, like who's making the money and who's not making the money. So this is about their legacy, the dynasty, the wealth, the long-term security, the tradition. There's a desire to preserve the established power structures. We could see that. There's an emphasis on inheritance, on legacy, on the institutions continuing the way that they always have, and the protection of what is ours. You see how his arms are crossed, like he's protecting himself, like what is ours. It's becoming about, you know, it is what's theirs, the authoritarians, the oligarchs, you know, hoarding all of the money, hoarding all of the wealth, hoarding everything, right? That's what they're trying to do, protect. Okay, and they're trying really, really hard to preserve these power structures, okay? They're trying really, really hard to preserve the power structures. Now, the 7 of Spokes, and spokes is water, cups, right? Cups are emotions, okay? It could be about illusions. Water is illusions, right? And it's in the past. This is the past, where it's placed. This is what I'm learning about the Celtic Cross. This is the past, and this is the future. So this is what's past, okay? So the past energy is, you know, lots of promises, right? They made lots of promises. There were multiple narratives, emotional persuasion. There was confusion. A lot of people were confused, but we got all these promises that they were going to do this, that it was going to look like this, that we were going to have all of this. And they fed on the emotions of the people, right? That's what was in the past energy. And there was a lot of confusion, right? There was a lot of confusion. We saw a lot of fighting, but they were giving us this false narrative. And they were playing on people's emotions. And that's what gained the party, the MAGA party. Okay, so the 9 of dice, which is right? Reverse, trying to release, okay, yeah. Okay, this is the 9 of dice. Dice is air. And my nails, I can't pick it up. This is about the goal, right? Their goal. Remember, it's reversed. So they're trying to release and they're trying to stop the spiraling that's happening around them, the spiraling that's happening with the independent media, that they're trying to release the negativity. There is a lot of people who are they're fear-mongering to try to get back into the emotions. They want to grab people by the emotions, but people are discovering the truth. And they're trying to unsuccessfully project confidence. And the messaging is, oh, we're past all these crises. We have it under control. And when we're not in line, there's nothing but grievances and threats that are getting thrown at people, at other countries, at people speaking up. And it's showing us that they are actually very afraid. They're very afraid. Because what they're trying to project, people are seeing through. Okay? So that's good news. And this is really good news. The moon reversed. So the moon reversed. I'm showing it to you upright, but it did come out reversed. So this is hidden things surfacing. This is confusion clearing. New exposure is causing them a lot of discomfort. The secrets are harder to maintain, and it's harder to manipulate us, they're trying a lot with the AI. You're going to see a lot of AI that's fake, that is really trying to tell us a story that isn't true. We're seeing paranoia being exposed in reality. This is where paranoia meets reality, and we're hearing stories about meltdowns at the White House, meltdowns in, Congress, people, whistleblowers coming out. There was just some congressperson who is a very big Trump supporter, MAGA supporter, who has just been called out for his being bisexual. And I'll get into that a little bit more in a second, about when he partied on Fire Island, which, who cares? Be who you are. It's just the hypocrisy. That's the problem. So anyway, they can't hide this stuff anymore, right? It's being revealed. Everything is being revealed to us, which is really interesting, because there's so much, oh my God, there's just so much going on. It's just crazy. Okay, now we have the 3 of Cups, right? Yeah, spokes are cups. Was it reversed? Yes, it was reversed, okay? Yes, it was reversed. So, fractured alliances, internal social rifts, exclusion, celebration, cut short, okay? So inside of the dynamic of the administration, we're seeing these alliances fracture. We're seeing pundits, right-wing pundits, podcasters fighting within each other. We're seeing, Christians fighting with Catholics. We're seeing all of this internal fighting, and this is really standing out in a big way. Like, we're seeing it playing out in a big way. Now, the twos are strands are wands, which is usually energy. And what this is in reverse though. So this is usually about a collaboration, but what's happening is collaborations are falling apart, right? So they're trying to do some strategic planning, but things are falling apart. They can't come together because it's in the reverse. We're not seeing it upright. We're seeing it in the reverse. So everything that they're trying to do is they're struggling. They're having problems getting things together. They have no alliances. All the alliances, think about all of the alliances of the other countries that are no longer supporting America in this and what's happening with the war and everything. I mean, he's being told no, probably for the first time in his life. And we are hearing and seeing him actually throw tantrums. I mean, some of the things he posts on his Truth Social is beyond bizarre. There was a video that was taken off of, it looked like he was speaking in tongues and he was having blood poured over his head. And people have screenshotted the video. So it was actually, he posted it. It had a very demonic feel to it. It was really bizarre. But then he took it down, or I don't know, maybe his people took it down. But it was really, really freaky. And some of the things that he has said on his Truth Social, it's been horrific. So he's feeling it. He doesn't have anybody anymore on his side, except for, except for BB, and that's a whole other story. Okay, so then we have the 8 of Cups in the reverse, right? Spokes, Cups in the reverse, and they're unable to walk away, okay, from what's coming up. They can't walk away. There's no escaping it, right? They're trying to figure out ways to get out of the situation, but they can't walk away from it. They cannot walk away from everything that the messaging, the stories, the independent reports, they're trying to figure out a way to walk away from what's happening in the war, without looking like it was a failure from the beginning. So there's a lot of emotion. People are angry. People are upset. Promises that they made that they didn't deliver is fracturing them from the inside. He is very upset because he's not getting his way. He's not winning like he always thinks that he does. But if you look at his history, I mean, he's what did he file for bankruptcy? 6 times? I mean, that's who he doesn't know. How do you bankrupt a casino? Okay, that's all I have to say. How do you bankrupt a casino? And you think that this guy's gonna know how to run a country? And supposedly he has I believe it. This is just, for entertainment purposes only, allegedly, he has a very low IQ. And then we have the Knight of Strands, and that is the fire, the passion that is in the outcome card, right? This is in the hopes and fears. The fear is he's not somewhere deep, he can't walk away. The outcome is they're still holding on with aggressive action. They're still moving forward. They're still making moves. They're still putting out bold messages. They're still doing impulsive campaigns. They are showing the energy is going to become louder, it's going to become faster, and it's going to become more confrontational, right? That is what we are going to be seeing from them. It's like they're screaming louder and louder and louder. It's almost like when you corner a caged animal, and that's when they get the most dangerous, the most loud, the most aggressive, and you hear them screaming the loudest. That's sort of where they are at. That is the outcome of where they are at right now. Okay, so they're trying to control the narrative, well, with the old fears, the old loyalties, and the coming revelations are going to be reshaping this whole situation. Okay, that is what is happening. Okay, now I also was thinking while I was shuffling about some kind of, they preach family first. They're the family first party, right? Christian nationalists, they're all about preaching about what Jesus, repressing about sexuality. They're against the LGBTQI community. They're anti-gay, they're anti-women's rights, they're anti-immigrants, everything that Jesus didn't stand for, but that they're saying that Jesus stood for. Okay, right? But there has been numerous stories that keep coming out about sexual exploits from this particular party. Now, I don't have an issue. I don't care as long as you're not hurting children and it's not grape, that's something. But it's interesting that there's so much sexual repression in that party, in that community, that it's coming out. Like, you can't, whatever you it's so hard to repress who you actually are. And if you're bisexual, like this last I can't remember his name, the last congressman who has now just been outed, who is bisexual, who cares? As long as it's with consensual adults. Like everybody knows that Lindsey Graham is gay, right? But he won't come out and say that he's gay, because can you imagine how that must feel inside, that you can't be who you are? Like, who cares? Who cares if you are? So it's just interesting that they're preaching, they're taking away the rights of women, they're taking away people's rights, they're taking away gay and trans rights, they're taking away all these rights, but meanwhile they have their own repression that is so deep inside of them. And we're hearing more stories coming out. Like, look at what happened with Kristi Noem and her husband. We're gonna be hearing more and more and more and more about this kind of stuff. Melania Trump and her association with Epstein, and all of that is just coming out. So I wanted to see there's symbolism here, and I can see that there is a symbolism about sexuality, desire, identity, repression, hidden appetites, and tension between their public image and their private self-expression. So a lot of these cards are about secrecy, shadow desire, emotional avoidance, social conformity, dual lives, and blocked intimacy. Okay? The High Priestess, she is an indicator of this inner truth. I mean, she's upside down, right? She's upside down, so she's hiding who she is. It's showing suppression here. It's a disconnect from their authentic self, right? And everything that they believe is taboo. They're hiding it. So there's private truths, but are not being publicly acknowledged. But these things are coming out. There's shame around individual identity. The hidden desires are conflicting with their public persona. And they're policing others while denying parts of themselves, right? And then, of course, we have the moon. The moon rules the subconscious, and it drives fantasy, it drives fear, secrecy, projection, hidden, emotional, sexual, material, and it's repressed. They're repressing their sexuality, they're repressing their kinks, they're repressing their of how they're feeling, and so things are surfacing. Scandals are being exposed. Denial is becoming harder to maintain. Their shadow desires are leaking through. They're coming into the light, right? So they can't hide from this. And then we have the three of, is it this three or is it this three? Wait, no, it's this three. Yeah. The Three of Cups, right? The Three of Cups reversed. So you have social and relationship disharmony, right? So exclusions from community, strained friendships, secret relationships, secret loyalties, performative morality versus private behavior, discomfort around pleasure, celebration, and sensuality, right? That is a level of self-hatred that I just can't imagine. And I am very, very happy that I don't have that, right? Very, very happy. Then you have in the past, you have fantasy, projection, temptation, multiple desires, craving what one condemns. Isn't that interesting? Living through fantasy rather than authenticity, and a confusion about desire. It's just crazy to me. And we have this card in the hopes and fears. My nails, I can't freaking pick it up. Jesus. Okay. In the reverse. It's representing the shame. It's the unresolved desires, the returning to the forbidden themes, the inability to release their true identities. There's a lot of shame here, okay? A personal shame that they're feeling, and that's why it's so repressed. And I just thought, okay, I can't even imagine. And then you have the Knight of Wands. Fucker. I can't pick them up. The Knight of Strands, which is Wands. And you have, this could be about your libido, raw libido, energy, performative masculinity. Think about that. Performative masculinity, impulsive passion, and dominance display. Because if they showed who they really were, the shame is so deep. They would rather betray their country and their constituents than show who they really are, which is really sad, because truthfully, if they just came out as who they really were, they would be embraced and loved and be supported. So, when you see this repression, it shows desires are being expressed indirectly as aggression, bravado, and control. And the High Priestess in the reverse, plus the Moon in the reverse, plus the Knight of Strands, is hidden truth, repressed subconscious material, and overcompensating with brute force or fire energy. And it manifests as moral rigidity, masking inner conflict, obsession with regulating sexuality. Think about it, their obsession with regulating sexuality, performative toughness, covering vulnerability, shadow desire expressed through control politics. In the collective, it's controlling. What they're doing is they're trying to control our bodies. They have anxiety about gender roles. There is a fear of nonconformity. Their hyper masculine branding is like ridiculous. The way they're trying to be so hyper masculine, it's like they're doing it for each other, right? But the truth is, it's a contradiction, because in private and in secret, they're completely different. I mean, if you look up anytime the Republican convention has some kind of convention and all these Republicans get together, a grinder in that area crashes. So how many of them in the Republican Party are gay or bisexual? Sexuality is a spectrum. It's a spectrum. How many of them are so repressed and have so much self-hatred and shame about who they are that they're basically taking it out on the rest of us, right? And they use religion, and they use dominance, and they use fear to try to control us. So, in a one-line end of this reading, what is denied inwardly often seeks power outwardly, and that's where we are. All right. So this is my first time doing this big grand Celtic Cross spread with the Stranger Things deck. You know, I know I'm jumping around a little bit, but I'm learning it as I go, and I have to remember, you know, scoops, dice, spokes, strands are wands, pentacles, swords, and cups, how I originally learned. So let me know what you think. I would love your opinion. Yeah. And if you got it, like if you understood the reading and you could see it from what I said, I would love to hear your thoughts about it, please. Okay? Because this is new for me, especially this deck. All right, everybody. I hope you're well. Stay safe. Do something fun. Do something goofy. I mean, I bought myself this shirt just so that I could sometimes put it on for these readings, right? Just because I wanted to, and it was fun. That's all. Like, it's just fun. It's fun. I'm looking for fun. I still have to live my life no matter what the sexually repressed people in the MAGA and administration are doing. I need to have some fun in my own life and have some joy and make myself laugh and not be so serious all the time. Okay. Again, let me know what your thoughts are, and I'll see you next time. Bye.